There's been so many discussions about Kinger, and is Kinger crazy, or why does he have all of these memory lapses? Is it that he's had a head injury? Has something traumatic happened? Has he always been this way? I think that this is the episode that gives us all those psychological clues that tell us what actually happened to Kinger. I'll also state that I don't like the word crazy. I think that it's a word that means that it's something wrong with someone, that they're damaged beyond repair. There are so many of us that are neurospicy, that have different things, that have gone through traumatic experiences, or just are not wired the same way as others. I think that if we actually looked at the amount of people, there are probably people that are more neurodivergent than people that are just neurotypical anyways. So I'm going to use some of the terms that they use, but I don't love the word crazy. I think that it's something that can be used in some ways that's cute, but I think that words also can hurt. Giving someone that kind of a title, I think, is more damaging than good. And in this episode, we're also going to take a look and say, why did Kinger get his memories back? What happened to be able to cause that? So we can all delve in together, put on our psychological hats, and take a look at what happened to Kinger.
Will you stop touching my eye?
Oh, yeah, sorry.
What happened?
I just remembered a really funny joke.
Why did you scream then?
Maybe it wasn't actually that funny.
Oh my God.
I think we should hold on to each other and slowly make our way back into the trophy room.
The interesting part to that is his I think is him actually starting to think. And often we can have this kind of disorganized pattern of the way that our thoughts are, that sometimes disjointed ideas end up being put into a situation. Now, there are lots of different reasons for this. It could be traumatic brain injury. Some people are just wired differently. Or it could be because of trauma. And all of these things can affect our word bins, our cognitions, our ability to retrieve the proper memories, to think really fast. These things can change depending on what's happening in our brain at any moment. It could also be just dementia that sometimes happens to people, or from having concussions. These are things that can affect the way that our brain processes thoughts and how we deal with situations at hand.
What was that?
What's what?
That?
It's probably just magnets. Or a boat.
A boat?
Whatever the case, I think we should be...
That adds to the risk of traumatic brain injury. So sorry.
Huh? You look beautiful, honey.
So one thing, do you see how his pupils dilate? That's actually exceptionally accurate. When we like something, or if we're in love, our pupils will often grow in size. That's why a lot of people that are poker players, or people that are dealing in diamonds or things that they want and they're trying to sell it, will often be wearing sunglasses so other people can't tell how happy they are with what they have or what they want. So we're going to just rewind that a little touch.
You look beautiful, honey.
I think that statement, "you look beautiful, honey," is because all of the eyes that are inside of the monster remind Kinger of his wife. Because when his wife abstracted, she had all of these big eyes. And so I think that that's what Kinger is reminded of and why he says that. And a lot of times when we're going through traumatic loss, we often see and feel that person in areas where they may not be. First, I believed that Kinger, thinking that he's seeing his wife and having that memory of her, is what brought him back. On further thought to this, I don't think that that's actually accurate. I think that it might be something else that we get clues about later.
Prepare for takeoff, cause this boat is going up! Huh? It's not up. It's not up at all! Why are we going up?
And a lot of people have fears and phobias about elevators, and there are different types of fears with elevators. For some people, it's the feeling of being trapped. Other people, it's the fear of possibly falling. For others, it's that feeling of that there might not be enough air, being in an enclosed space, too many people, being all alone. Even people that have the same phobia, the reason for their phobia might be completely different.
I was no longer the protector my wife and theoretical children shadow, every noise in my attempts to protect her. I ended up becoming the monster myself. I will slay the beast that took everything from me.
And that can often happen, that we want to protect or keep something to us, close to us, and we become so controlling, so wanting to that we end up becoming that monster that the person has to get away from. And that's why we need to be so careful about allowing our fear or our anxiety or our worries of loss and abandonment to be able to make those choices. Whenever you are making a choice out of fear, even when it's the right choice, it's the wrong choice. And often it's going to have really serious repercussions. So whenever you feel a lot of anxiety, you want to wait until you're calmed down and perhaps even journal it out before you decide to act.
How's about we take his gun?
Yeah, sounds good to me. Please don't come alive.
Okay, I won't.
There's an irony in that, really.
Looks like we've got 2 shots. Let's make them count. Stay behind me.
I love how Kinger is so naturally protective of those that he's with, and I think that brings back some of his natural nature. A lot of times, especially if you're dealing with traumatic loss or dementia or other things, the core pieces of your personality are still there. Your core of who you are as a person, courtesy, positivity, the way that you interact with the world is often still those pieces of who you are. And because they're at a deeper part of your brain, they're actually more protected from being able to be lost. And they're also more interwoven to the rest, more interconnected to the rest of your brain. So some of those primal systems are actually the last ones that you lose. I find that face very distressing, and that noise, that kind of primal noise of distress also, I find kind of gets me to my core. So I find this face really quite terrifying.
Kinger, I think we may have a problem this way too.
Just leave it to me. I can handle this.
And you see that? Like, he knows who he is as a person. In these times of distress, that's why that negative self-talk is so damaging, because it changes our perception of ourself. And it's these times that you need to really believe in yourself. And Kinger does. He knows it to his core. And that's why the way that you speak to yourself is so imperative, because then when you need to be able to use a skill, it's your own self-assessment that you've been advertising to yourself that will make the difference. And for Kinger, he knows that he has this. And in times of stress, you will actually be better at the things that you've practiced. Worse at the things that you haven't, but better at the things that you've practiced. So anxiety is not a weakness. It can often be a strength. Another cool little tidbit is that all of the eyeballs now make sense. That biblical, literal, circular spiral of eyeballs, that what angels really should look like. And there's a whole bunch of eyes all over the place. Even in the tape recorder, all of the circles are little tiny eyeballs, which I find really interesting and kind of disturbing. And then it also makes sense that inside of the face of the head, there are all these eyeballs looking back at you.
Not really typical of what you'd think hell would be.
We are literally in hell right now.
Just try to stay calm. I'm sure Cain included a way to escape.
And the way that he said that was in a calm voice. Let's be proactive and do something, because probably there's a way out of this situation, which gives people hope. Plus, to be able to actually think of, we're going to do something going forward. So instead of spinning about the worry and how bad things are, what Kinger is doing is giving hope, but also putting the brain into an active mode of let's figure out this puzzle. And when we're doing that, we're not thinking about all the worry, which helps our anxiety go down.
Hold on. Let me try something.
And look at Kinger at this stage. He's processing everything that's happening. We can see who Kinger was before whatever happened to him that made him have all of these disorganized memories. The way that he's also really protective and trying to keep Pomni safe at the same time. So we can see that from these actions that Kinger is actually really great at problem solving, that he can end up, and some people are really good at being able to take all of the pieces of the puzzle in a grand system kind of way, to be able to figure out how things work and to be able to pick up and notice that there's a danger here, and the stark difference to how he is when he's in the circus in comparison to where he is right now in the darkness of hell.
Hey! You get out of her, you damn evil souls!
How's your wife, Kinger?
Hey! You all right there?
And even though Kinger is scared, he really wants to protect Pomni. A lot of times when we've gone through loss or lost someone close to us, we can be even more protective of the people that are around us. Sometimes what can happen though is we end up overly protective. So protective that we become excessively controlling and don't let people outside of our grasp, outside of our sights, because we believe that if we can watch over it, we can stop bad things from happening. But the difficulty with that is that we also have to give people the room to grow, to make mistakes, to be able to live their own lives. So sometimes you can love something so much that you end up suffocating it. And so you want to be able to watch out that balance. But in this case, Kinger is using it for the good and being able to save Pomni because he can, versus his wife that he wasn't able to.
I'm guessing the souls are attracted to living things, just want a vessel to be able to leave with. Man, 7 years of computer science for this, huh?
Which I think is a very interesting kind of hint. Perhaps Kinger is actually one of the people that helped create this world that he's in and then trapped in, which again, I think psychologically we often do that. We are often the ones that have created all of the traps that are around us. And if we end up understanding ourselves well enough, we can also be the ones to help ourselves with the way out.
I really am in hell.
Don't say that.
And you can see when Kinger goes to reach out, but he isn't sure if that's what Pomni needs or wants. For some people, touch can be really soothing and they could want that. But for other people, they don't want to be touched when they're in distress. The things that might be soothing to you might not be soothing to someone else. And if you're not sure, it is better to err on the side of caution.
Why have you been acting so different lately?
I have, haven't I? I'm normally not too good with memories, but being surrounded by darkness always brings me back to a certain time.
And I think that that's the key, that sometimes the darkness or soothing things or having less of an information overload can be able to be relaxing. And when you're in a relaxed state, your memories can detangle themselves and you can be able to pull out information that you may not be able to when you're in a high stress situation. I think that for Kinger, there's more to it than just this. But for a lot of people, they experience information overload. And the digital circus is exactly that. All of these bright colors, all of these noises, things constantly being a barrage happening to us that we're constantly having to juggle, to perform with everyone else around us. And sometimes that can be so overwhelming that we can end up discombobulated, or in this case, abstracted.
Right after my wife had abstracted, I don't recall the exact string of events, but we both ended up in the fort together. And it was dark. The darkness seemed to calm her down a bit.
And I think that that's why for Kinger, he also was able to be more calm. And I don't think that it's just the darkness, this calm place, but also the memories of his wife that he has in this calm place where he can find himself again.
The harsh, jagged edges smoothed out, and she didn't seem aggravated anymore. She was calm enough to touch one last time before she got sent to the cellar. I'm always taken back to that moment when engulfed in darkness.
I think that it's that traumatic memory, that traumatic experience of having his wife become abstracted, becoming this creature that he still recognized but wasn't her, and then having that loss. We can, after going through extreme traumas, have disorganized memories, not be able to process things, have lapses in the way that we speak and the way that we cope with things. And so for me, that would be the reason that Kinger is going through this, the reactions to this extreme loss. And then it would also make sense of why in this darkness, in this place that reminds him of his pillow fort, of where he can feel calm and soothed.
You had a wife? Like, here in the circus?
Yeah.
And that explains why he spends so much time in his pillow fort. A lot of times we do. We want to spend time with the things that remind us with the people that we've lost or the people that we miss. And we might hold on to objects or memories or places that bring us back, make us feel emotionally closer, and that is soothing and healthy and something that you can do. A lot of people are trying to help people mourn things faster at a pace that someone else feels is comfortable, and that's a horrible thing to do. If someone has a shrine or an area or objects, please do not get rid of them or destroy them or make someone feel bad or mock them because of this. This is something that they hold dear, and it's really soul-crushing to have someone else mock that, make fun of it, or even destroy it or get rid of something before you are ready. Everyone has a right to be able to mourn in the way that they feel most comfortable, even if you don't agree with it.
She was funny, creative, really into entomology. I used to hate bugs, but she somehow got me to like them.
And that's true also. When someone else, especially someone that we care about, likes something, we often start to like it as well. We start to, especially for those of us that are more of the empathic area, we start to be able to see the world through their eyes and enjoy it because we're seeing it through a different lens. And when you care a lot about someone, you want to enjoy the things that they enjoy, kind of a merging of two lives and two experiences. And so it makes sense of why Kinger really likes bugs, these little callbacks of bugs and his reactions to them.
It's not the most cheerful memory, but it's one I at least have control over.
This is a memory that he has control over, and so that increases my thoughts that this is his link of why he's able to be more calm in this place now.
I know how I can feel in this circus. Sometimes it all just feels pointless.
Yeah.
But it's not. Not if you have people who care about you. Good memories can do a lot. Hold on to them. And cherish the people around you. You never know when they'll be gone. In this world, the worst thing you can do is make someone think they're not wanted or loved.
It's so interesting to me that it's Kinger that gives this so very poignant and true advice that what matters to us is the people that we care about and the people that are around us. Not all of the stuff, the things that we often chase, the titles, the sparkly things, the fame, the fortune, the money, those things don't matter. It's the people that bring us joy and peace. And I love that he takes this moment to be able to help Pomni remember that no matter what's happening around you, what kind of chaos that you're dealing with, you want to be able to have these anchoring points to be able to ground yourself and remind yourself of the things that truly matter. We can often get so caught up in the digital circus that we end up losing the pieces that actually matter, the things that when we look back on our life, we will say that we wished that we did more of. If you're not going to say to yourself, I wish I spent more time at work, then don't. That I wish that I had my house even cleaner. If you're not ever going to say that, no one ever says that. That isn't what matters. It's the people, it's the memories, it's the experiences. So make sure to spend your time and your efforts in what does matter.
I'm glad you're here with me.
You know, I've been thinking about that last tape.
That's his coping mechanism, and that's often what happens to our brain with traumatic memories. Often we can't remember them. It's the way that our brain helps us be able to process things if they're too overwhelming, too painful for us. And so that's what I think is the cue for why Kinger doesn't have all of his memories, because having them come back might be too hurtful for him, and he may not be able to cope or deal with it. And it is what can happen to people. A lot of people may not have certain periods of their life that they can remember, or their childhoods, and often that's because they're just too painful. So sometimes our brain tries to protect us by hiding things away until we're ready to be able to process it. But I don't think that he's doing this actively or purposely. I think that it's more that this is the reaction, the way that his brain is dealing with this. So I don't think that this is really a choice, that he's chosen not to remember it, that the thing that distresses you, you don't have to think about, is that he does have a certain amount of knowledge that that is what's happening to him.
If we leave and we go back to the circus, you're just gonna go back to being crazy.
See, I don't love the word crazy. I know that they all use it, but he's not crazy. He's hurt. He's gone through trauma. And it's a very common thing to be able to process things in different ways. We often use the word crazy to describe things that we don't understand or that scares us. And I think that in media, that's often been demonized, and I think that it does more of a disservice. So I don't love that word. I would have rather that she said, you'll go back to being the way that you were, or not remembering things, or we'll lose the parts of you that I've just gotten to know and really enjoy.
You're not gonna remember any of this, are you?
Don't worry about me. As long as you remember it, things will be okay.
It's just so sad to me. I don't know why. But we often carry the memories of the people that we've lost. It's just kind of sad to think about how all of this wonderful exchange that they've both had together, that he won't remember it. And my hope is that there'll be pieces of it that he does remember, that it's actually stored there. And this reminds me a little bit about people that are going through or have a loved one that are dealing with dementia, that they're not going to remember, but the people will carry on that memory for them inside of us. To be able to live through their memories, but not just to remember the things that are sad, but the beautiful parts of them. You wouldn't want someone to have your memory only be a part of sadness. To be able to have joy and to remember the tenets, the lessons that you've learned that someone else can carry on. And that is a good thing. For Kinger, he might not remember the specifics of what happened, but I'm hoping that he'll remember the emotions, the feelings that are there. And that's the thing that often people can still carry on. And so this happy experience and this closeness with Pomni, I'm hoping will continue on in the series.
You're very strong, Pomni. And I know you'll be able to get through this. Just hold on to me. We'll get through it together.
Like the perfect words to say. Isn't that what everyone wants from that parental figure, someone that they look up to? That you're brave, I believe in you, that you can be able to do this. And then that hand, like, here I am to be able to help you through this. You don't have to worry, you're not alone. Love that.
You ready?
He's that glowing light when we were talking about the angels and the eyes. And so then you see him and he's this kind of glowing light that's lighting the way for Pomni and the way out. And I think that those words of wisdom and that kind of angelic light that he has, and he has like these giant eyeballs that's like similar to the eyeballs of the angels. I just think that the symbology of that is also really beautiful, and being able to take that path to another level, which we can do psychologically when we understand ourselves, and we've been able to face the things that we've been running from and be able to be successful with them. And for Pomni, it's also going through believing in herself and being able to accomplish something. And when you do it, success or failure, you want to be proud that you tried. Stop breathing at that point, but okay, fine. I don't know.
Oh, Pomni, Kinger, are you guys okay? Was it scary?
I'm fine, actually.
Pomni was very brave. At least I think she was.
See, so there are some little tiny pieces that Kinger still remembers. There's these little ephemeral memories to it that he still gets to keep.
Were you?
Something like that.
I wonder if he actually does remember a little bit like that. Seemed like he was meaning it and wanting Pomni to actually say it. So is he not letting on as much as he has his memory? Like, I have to kind of question that just a touch, that maybe he is putting on that he's lost his memory more than he actually has. Possibility.
So what was it like being stuck with the nutcase?
It wasn't that bad, actually.
Don't love her answer to that. That even though it was really scary, but her interaction with Kinger was actually really enlightening. Literally. And beautiful, and I think bonding, and I think that he helped her through a situation that was really difficult so that she could learn about herself and some life lessons at the same time. So I wish that she said enlightening and wonderful, and there's so much more to Kinger than meets the eye. And I just think about him going into his little tiny pillow fort, and now going in there has a completely different feeling, because you know that when he's there with the memories of Queenie, his wife. And I think that that's really beautiful. You don't want to get lost in those places, but you want to be able to visit them and enjoy it. And so I look at this scene and know that he's at peace. If you hate ads more than being abstracted, or love me as much as Kinger loves his wife, wouldn't that be lovely? Or want to hear all the saucy words that I can't put because of YouTube, then get Nebula. If you like this video, you can also check out my Arcane, Wednesday, The Boys, Last of Us, all ad-free, sponsor-free on Nebula, just like all the videos on Nebula. That's the whole purpose of Nebula. It's a place where you can get high quality videos that creators can post early, post extended versions, post videos that would never work or be allowed on YouTube. Creators like Foreign Man in a Foreign Land, Matt Krall, Extra Credits, Morning Brew with Dan Toomey, Patches, Tirsu, Stephen Bridges, who will teach you to beat the odds. I've been posting also my compilation videos like The Last of Us, The Jinx Saga, Vox Machina Season 1, all early on Nebula. I also have a course on how to beat anxiety. And you can also get exclusive originals like The Getaway, I'm on it, Christopher Nolan's The Ultimate Critique, trying to make sense of the X-Men cinematic universe timeline. We all need that. I definitely do. All ad-free, sponsor-free. So you can sign up using mine. Yes, please use mine. Exclusive link below. And you can get an annual plan of Nebula for 40% off, $36 a year, $6 a month. And yes, clicking on that link really does help support my channel. So thank you to everyone that does. And this is all early access, all the extended versions, all the courses, originals, all from the most awesome Nebula creators, just by clicking on the link below. So thank you so much to Nebula for helping support my channel, and hopefully I'll see you in the next video. So those are my thoughts of Kinger and why he's lost his memory, and if he is crazy or not. You can let me know what your thoughts are on Kinger, and if you believe in my psychological theory or you have your own, let me know.